Hello everyone, my name is Tony Riggs and welcome to today's webinar. We'll be looking at some what's new material for both SOLIDWORKS Composer and SOLIDWORKS MBD. This year with SOLIDWORKS 2018, there's some interesting new enhancements in both SOLIDWORKS Composer and MBD, and I just picked out a few of those items that I liked the most. So we're going to start with SOLIDWORKS Composer, and there's some nice new enhancements for bringing the SOLIDWORKS information into Composer. So bringing in the SOLIDWORKS bill of material, and we'll see some of the differences between how the old bill of material worked and how the new one does. So if anybody has played around with the bill of material in Composer, we'll see some nice enhancements there. Bringing in textures. You've got the ability to apply textures in Composer, but if you've gone through the work of adding them all in SOLIDWORKS, it just makes for a nicer display in Composer, so we'll see how that's done. And then the Digger Write manager will kind of explain what that's talking about. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to switch over to SOLIDWORKS here. And we're going to look at a few different things. So here is our regular SOLIDWORKS assembly, and we've gone in and we've put in a bill of material at the assembly level. Interesting thing here is I'm choosing the top level only for my bill of material. If we start doing an indented list, and we can do that in Composer, but it adds a level of hierarchy and complexity if we do it in with the Composer method. So let's stick with top level only, at least for now, and see how that works. We're going to go in and look at a couple options here. If we do a file save as, so let us save the bill of material template. I guess I need to get out of that. Let's try to save the actual assembly. And now we can come down to a SOLIDWORKS Composer file. So it's just going to be possible if we've got the add-in turned on. If we look at the options here, there's an option for the SOLIDWORKS bill of material, and so we'll see that. Also, if I flip on over to Composer, close this down, we'll play with this. We'll do a file open, and we will look in this level. We've got our BOM here, and bringing that in, we can see how this is going to work. Now, if we actually just open up the SOLIDWORKS assembly and look at the SOLIDWORKS options here, we've also got the import SOLIDWORKS BOM option here as well. So it depends on whether you export SMG from SOLIDWORKS or open the native files. So now we've got our SOLIDWORKS Composer file. We can look at the bill of material here. I may want to come down and make the position free, and pull it together, clean it up a little bit. I've got some of the descriptions coming in there on the model. If we look at let's start not in the BOM tab, but the collaboration tab and the panel. We've got the bill of material panel there. And if we switch over to the BOM tab, we've got the items, 1 through 8. Sort those the opposite direction. If we click on the component, we've got the BOM ID. So that's what we're used to seeing in the SOLIDWORKS Composer method of generating the bill of materials, is use of that BOM ID there. Okay. So much easier way of controlling the bill of material. So play with that and see how you can get things to work. Definitely, if we come into the author tab and add a call out, you can see as we even just hover over the different components, the item number changing as we hover over the different BOM IDs. Okay. So let's take a look at the next topic is going to be talking about bringing in the SOLIDWORKS, the textures. I've got a little basket that I worked on years ago. Right now this is just, a colored material. If we were to come in and bring this into SOLIDWORKS Composer, just the regular basket, it's not going to look very good. There's no textures on it. Down here in the options dialog there is an import textures checkbox. We want to make sure that's checked. But if we open this, and I may already have it open in SOLIDWORKS. Let's close it out of here. One more time. It's going to actually launch SOLIDWORKS, do all the conversion, just like if we were to save out the SMG file. And now we've got a nice boring file there. If we go back over to SOLIDWORKS real quick, and let's cancel that, and open up, let's say this basket with texture. I've just drug a texture in. I just used the polished rosewood. So there we've got a nice looking little texture on the part. Let's close out of that as well. And now back in Composer we will open that file up. So the basket with texture now. Again, going through launching the converter. And now we've got pretty decent rendition of that texture. Much easier, especially if we've already put in all the time in SOLIDWORKS adding textures, getting them to automatically pull over to the SOLIDWORKS model here. Okay, so that's item number 2 on our list. One more thing that we want to look at here on the Composer side is the digger. If we go to File and then Publish, and come over and publish, say, an HTML file, what is the Right Manager really? So if we come down here to the Right Manager options, these are some of the options that are going to be available in Composer Player. And then there's even an asterisk here for the things that are available in Composer Player Pro. So now with 2018, we've got the option to turn off and on people's ability to use the digger when they're looking at the files in the Composer Player. Okay, so just whether you want that option there or not. Okay, go back over to the PowerPoint real quick. So bringing in the bombs, bringing in the textures, and then the digger as far as exporting the files to the player. There's a couple other things new in Composer for 2018, but I'll show you some ways to get more information on those here in a little bit. If we flip on over to SOLIDWORKS MBD, or model-based definitions, there's a few things that we're going to look at. Some new annotations, new ways to look at the PMI information, some new templates that look a little bit nicer. See how there's some new functionality for those as well. And then this idea of the Step 242 files, we've seen them being able to be attached and embedded into the PDFs. We'll see some new options for that. So I'm going to switch back over to SOLIDWORKS, and here we have this transmission assembly. I'm going to come in and open up one of the little part files, and we're going to play with them at first. It's actually the second part. So, being able to come in and add different information to our parts and adding, PMI. We can come in and add a datum now in 2018. Call this datum B. If we actually click this on one of these patterned holes, it's actually going to add that the B datum. It's hard for me to say, to the annotation itself, and be able to tolerance those holes a little bit differently now. There's another couple options here. If we come over to the design library, I've got a note that I sometimes pull into my models. A general note here, talking about the general tolerances. If we come in here, general profile tolerance for unspecified surface, we can actually come in, and over in the note field there is a insert dim expert general profile tolerance field. So we can go ahead and give that an overall tolerance. If we look in the dim expert tab here, directly under part 1, the surface profile, if we come in and edit the general profile tolerance, we've got the ability to come in and change these values if we want to open up tolerances just a little bit, and it's going to apply there in the field. If we go back over to the transmission assembly itself, one of the new things is the ability to show all of the part level PMI information here at the assembly. So what's that going to do? That's going to give us the ability to take a look more at the tolerancing scheme between all the different components. There's even a way for us to kind of transfer the tolerances from one component to another component. If, say, on some of these bolt holes, if there's some matching patterns of holes, we can inherit some of those tolerances from the other components. Okay, so being able to visualize things here is a little bit better at the assembly level. The next thing we're going to look at is some of the new PDF templates that are there. A little bit nicer looking for us. The ability to bring in that general note directly from the 3D notes from our model. Come in and still be able to flip through the different views, but a new thing here is the play button that will allow it to go through and kind of scroll through and animate between the different views of the part. So if we're in more of a presentation mode, we can start that up and flip through the different views. Now if we come up here and notice some of this PMI information up here, we can see the design by, maybe even the material changing. These are going to represent configuration specific custom properties that we can now bring in to the PDF output and gather that information there as well. Okay, so if we're done animating, we can hit the pause button and stop that going. Okay, so we've been able to go in and attach a step 242 file to the 3D PDF for a while now. Let's go back over to SOLIDWORks and play with those options a little bit. So the publish option here to PDF, and then being able to create and attach the step 242 file. That's been around for a while, but now the publishing to eDrawings, eDrawings may be another way to transmit the data back and forth. We've also got the ability to attach that same 242 file to the different eDrawings, and if we've got multiple configurations of a part, we can get each of those as well. It'll actually show up as an attachment in eDrawings when we open it up in the viewer. Another option that's kind of interesting is our ability to go in and actually open up the step 242 file. Now what I'm going to do, instead of just clicking on this file in this look where we're looking at all files, I'm actually going to go down and specifically tell it to look for a 242 file. And it's going to behave maybe a little bit differently if we do it that way. But notice here we've got the include PMI information in the open dialog box. So if we actually go in and open this guy, we're going to get a message say, including PMI requires the files to be imported. Choose continue to import the files, otherwise cancel. We actually want to import it as opposed to using the option to bring it in as a native step file. So we really don't need the import diagnostics here, but we've got the different PMI information, and if we come in and look at the dimensions here, we can actually see some of the options where they'll highlight on the model. If we click on the right ones, we can see that information being transmitted to us as we go along. Okay, so being able to bring in this step file with the PMI information all pulled in, could be a nice way to help with the manufacturing process on down the road, and not have to provide the native SOLIDWORKS file, but a neutral file format that the people can use to machine off of. Okay, it's all about giving information to the people down the line. Okay, so let's go back and take a look at the PowerPoint one more time. So again, a couple different ways to add different annotations. Assembly level PMI, a little bit different look for the templates, and you can still go in and customize those if you'd like. And then the step 242 files that are out there. Like I was mentioning, there's still a bunch of other what's new information for MBD and some even for Composer. So I wanted to go in and I'll pull this page in here on the GoEngineer YouTube channel. So youtube.com/GoEngineer. We've got a bunch of different videos on there, previous webinars and that sort of thing. From SOLIDWORKS, we've got a bunch of new icebreakers that go through, a quick look at the different products that are out there that we've got, 3D printing, Ship Your World. But down here at the bottom, there's the What's New in SOLIDWORKS videos. Looks like there's 24 of them there. A ton of resources to go in and take a look at more information on SOLIDWORKS and some of the other products videos, if you haven't already taken a look at those. Okay, so it might be worth a look. So that's kind of the top few things from my perspective on SOLIDWORKS Composer and SOLIDWORKS MBD. Again, if you've got more questions, let me know. Easiest way probably is to shoot me an email, triggs@goengineer.com. Definitely check out the YouTube channel. But GoEngineer, we just continue to strive to give you the right tools to take advantage of the design and manufacturing aspects of your daily job, and showing you the best ways to use those. So I do see a question out here. Can you automatically publish the 3D PDF during a PDM transition without having to manually open SOLIDWORKS and create the 3D PDF? Andrew, that's a question that I've seen. I've seen a few people do a few different things. I'm actually going to have to probably double check on that and get back with you. I will definitely find out. I see your email address there. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know what I can come up with, and maybe get one of the PDM guys to follow up and see if that's a possibility. Does anybody else have any other questions? Or is everybody ready for the weekend? Okay, well, definitely if you have any other questions, shoot me an email, triggs@goengineer.com, and I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. And again, this is Tony Riggs with GoEngineer, and hope you have a great rest of the day. So take care, guys.